Coming to you live from ProSwing here on the Forest Drive, 4708 Forest Drive, where you need to come out and hang with us this afternoon. Tyler Head has made his way over in the 107.5 The Game chopper, just cruised right on over the traffic. They lowered him down, and he is all set to complete 2 more hours radio this afternoon. As I always enjoy this, Tyler, this time of year. We got great golf going on right now with the Players' Championship, and also anytime you can start getting conference basketball tournaments going on mid-afternoon. You and Kale were just talking about it.
Yep.
And now, was that fear that I registered from you and Kale that the Florida Gators are as hot as they are, they could go back-to-back?
It's not fear. And look, as an alumni of the University of Georgia, I don't want to see Florida have success any more than anybody else does. But having watched what I've seen of them this year, namely against what they did against South Carolina, it looks like a really tough team to beat. So as we get into making brackets and stuff next week, I'll go ahead and tell you they're my pick for the national championship, and that would include winning the SEC tournament this weekend as well.
Kale, are you now? Kale, I don't know if I know a couple weeks ago you wore a Georgia hat in studio. You took a little grief for it. That's okay. Georgia's my number 2. I'm a proud. Listen, but the family, me, the sister, the father, we're the outcast. We're the black sheep. We went to South Carolina. Rest of the family from Elberton, Georgia. I've got a deep, way back uncle that kicked for the University of Georgia. He's a legend in Elberton County. He kicked a game-winning state championship game with a broken foot. His athleticism and/or toughness did not make it down the line to me, but we are a family of Bulldogs behind Gamecock, so I can join you two on this. But do you share your staunch dislike of the Gators, much like apparently Tyler does?
Yeah, so I grew up a fan of both Georgia and Carolina. I'm a USC alum. I got accepted to UGA, just too expensive out of state. So I still root for both. But my best friend since 4th grade, we were born on the exact same day. He's a diehard Gator fan. So I hear it from him all the time whenever Georgia or Carolina plays Florida in anything. So I do not like to see Florida have success either. So they do look amazing. I will not argue with that. But I don't think that they're going to go all the way. I think they're going to make it far. The team I really have making it to the end and winning it all is Michigan.
You go Michigan. Choice. You go Florida. Is that what I called in the last one? You're going to go Florida?
Yeah, I mean, look, Michigan is not a bad choice, and that's the funny thing about the NCAA tournament. Like, for being honest, is it the best way to determine a national champion? No, it's not. But is it fun? Sure. And again, if you're a really great team, you're going to be able to navigate your way through. But all it takes is one bad game to lose to, the Sweet 16 or whatever, and Florida could be done. So again, that's just how it is, and what we've accepted is the championship format, and it's fun to watch.
Well, we agree. Y'all agree. Both of y'all agree on this. This has got to be odd for me. The NCAA men's tournament, the Final Four is anticlimactic to me. Everything, all the fun occurs the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you get to the Final Four, and it's kind of like, okay, that's here, that's cool, and I'm with you. Hypothetically, Michigan, Arizona, Duke could all be eliminated at some point.
I would say the national championship game in men's basketball is the least,
I'm with you,
exciting.
But I'll flip it around. The women, the first 2 weekends are kind of boring and anticlimactic. But then the Final Four for the women is phenomenal.
Yes.
I've come around to this.
I would agree with that because, typically you have your handful of, 5 to maybe 8 teams have a realistic shot of winning the thing. Most all of them end up surviving into that Elite 8 to Final Four round, where the men's side, you get upsets. You may have a team that's a Cinderella make a run deep into the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. And you're like, well, that's a cool story, but Duke probably would have been a better team to watch in the Elite 8 or something along those lines. So it is interesting, the dynamic, how different those two tournaments are.
It really is. So, all right, so Kale's going Michigan. So this is early. We'll do this again next Thursday before I go out for surgery on Friday so that we have our official picks in. Maybe we got – doesn't somebody owe something from our wheel of punishment? Don't you owe or I owe?
Yes, I can't remember what
we need to start. You're getting good at keeping up with stuff we gotta do. But we'll put something in. I want to lean Arizona to get this thing done this year, and then Tommy Grady in Arizona run through it and get the job done. We'll see. I don't know if it's John Shire and Duke's year. Brian Edwards just mentioned the injuries that they've sustained of recent. Duke's depth also concerns me a little bit. Not that they're not lacking depth, but I just Duke, and when you get to the games that matter, and all of a sudden you're in the final 4 minutes, and if you lose, that's it. I feel like Duke gets affected by that more than a lot of Kentucky was that way for a long time.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's Duke now.
Well, when you're dealing with a lot of young players, one and done type of guys that don't have as much experience compared to some of these other teams, that's where we find some of these teams that, pull off these upsets, like that Oakland team a couple years ago. They had tons of experience. They played a ton of basketball, and Kentucky was full of a bunch of young guys. That's where that kind of stuff really creeps up in the tournament.
803-404-6100, live from ProSwing, where you need to come and hang out with us today. We got some bays open. We are at 4708 Forest Drive. You can't miss us, trust me. We're here. Come join us. We'll talk about some ProSwing stuff, and I'm going to get back into that basketball. Lamont Parish, what's next for this program? You're listening to the Halftime Show.
Yep.
That's where
Live from ProSwing, where we are pretending we're good golfers. Everybody else is acting like they know exactly what they're doing. And this weekend, if you want to come by, play a little golf, come on and do it. You don't have to worry about what the weather is going to be. I don't have to read you the temperature and the forecast for the weekend. You know why? We got nice climate-controlled bays, beverages of your choice, whatever it is you like. I'm not telling you what to drink or what not to drink. I'm just telling you they might have some beverages that you would enjoy. Come on by and try those out. And you can choose from over 300. Now, this is the fun part, Tyler. You know, and I love golf. I'm too weak to play golf right now. It stinks. I control my strength is not there. I talked about that in a little video I put out on Wednesday. Strength in there, but it'll come back. But you come play here. You can play 5 days a week. You can play 5 different countries. You can play all over the world.
Well, as you get your strength back, you need to improve on your golf swing as well.
Thank you.
They've got lessons for you on that.
They do.
Step-by-step process and see the video of your swing. So you know what's going wrong, what you need to work on, and get you right for whatever you got coming up.
Yeah, and we're going to tell you about it here in just a little while. Dave is going to join us. They've got some tournament. They got a tournament going on right now. We're going to let him explain it. And I tell you, I look up there, and what's the name I see right up there on Flight A? If that's the name that I think it is, Tyler Thigpen. I believe that's the Tyler Thigpen I'm thinking of. Same fella. Okay, that would be the former Coastal Carolina Star, and I believe Buffalo Bill. Am I right?
Kansas City Chief.
Chief. Okay. All right.
He may have been with the Bills, but I remember him.
I feel like he had a short cup of coffee with the Bill, but I could be wrong.
May bounce around. I will verify on that.
Memory is not becoming my strong point as age increases. But learn more about it. We're gonna have David Owen coming up at about 1:45. Tell you more about it. But yeah, come on by ProSwing here today, and also, and you're gonna want to tune in for this because I'm gonna save this. I'm not gonna tell you about it. We're gonna let David explain it. You are gonna have a chance to win Masters badges. That's right. Let me repeat that. You like the Masters? You like golf? You want to see the hallowed grounds of Augusta National? You're going to have a chance here with ProSwing to win some Masters badges. David will tell you about that at 1:45, so you need to make sure that you tune in and get that.
Vikings, Chiefs, Dolphins, Bills, Browns.
I got the Bills.
There you go. So we were right.
And he
more well known for his time with the Chiefs.
He also successfully reached Preston Thorne's role of journeyman status.
Yes, that is 5 teams. That would be a journeyman.
That is 5 teams. 803.
You know, that's 5 more teams than us.
Paycheck's much larger than us as well. 803-404-6100. If you hear anything you want to weigh in, thank you again to Brian Edwards for weighing in with his picks in the previous hour. Right now, some of my conversation, and I'll drag Tyler into this, and we're going to play a little more audio, is the direction now of South Carolina basketball because, folks, there will be a point here over the next 2 or 3 weeks. We put a bow on it, and we all return. And y'all think I'm joking? I had this conversation with somebody else yesterday who was listening off air as I was out last night, and they said, you might be right, and it made me feel good that somebody told me I might be right. I don't get that often. Tyler, this basketball program, and really this athletic program, and I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry for being negative. I don't want to be negative. I don't want to. I'm like y'all. I'm a fan. You hear me say that more and more and more. I'm a fan. This is not what I want. This is not what y'all want. And to call it unacceptable is almost now at this point not even doing it justice for men's athletics. We will now wait to see what baseball transpires. The optimistic person in me says let's just cross fingers, toes. Let's sage Founders Park. And let's see if we can turn this thing around and have an enjoyable April and May and everything goes differently. Basketball, we can't. Basketball has come to a conclusion. Football, we got to wait on. It's time. And I can put only so much on Lamont Paris, and so much does need to be put on him. But another portion needs to be put on the administration. And it is on Jeremiah Donati. It is on everybody down there to support basketball. Now, my question is, I have been told the starting number, the singular starting number, and you and I think maybe disagreed on this a little bit, was $10 million. Mm-hmm. And that's the number. that you've got to start with to upgrade the basketball, to do the things necessary. And what that is that's NIL, that's resources look, I'm sorry. The truth has got to be told. Lamont Paris has to upgrade his staff. You have got to get people who have knowledge of this league and who can go out and get players. Has to. All right. I'm sorry that we're talking about it in that manner, but this has become purely unacceptable when 3 of historically the 4 worst years in basketball have occurred. This is fixable, by the way, folks. Tyler, you would agree.
Yeah.
It ain't like this is a dead program that we just look at and go, throw it in the can. It's never fixable.
Yeah, no, it's and look, in today's era, when it comes to just being able to put money at things, it's an easier turnaround than maybe it's been in years past. But throwing money at something doesn't guarantee success, and I think you see that with LSU and Matt McMahon. They were
you look at Kentucky, right?
You look at Kentucky as the highest spender, but LSU last year, based on the numbers that reported, was at the bottom of the SEC with South Carolina in terms of what they spent. They upped their investment this year, kind of to that $8 to $10 million range, based on what's been reported. And they had the exact same record of 3-15 in conference play. So it's not just throwing money at it and expecting it to be better. There are other elements of it too that you do have to improve on, which is going to be where Lamont Paris is going to have to prove himself. Like, all right, it seems like the money's going to be there to be more competitive in the SEC based on what we think those numbers are going to be. You still got to go out there and properly evaluate the talent, develop guys when they get here to where when they get on the court, they are the players that you need. And again, Kentucky's the example of, bringing a bunch of high level, high dollar guys that don't end up translating when they come here and playing. So money's not the only thing you have to do. You have to be able to execute with what you have to.
Yeah. And we'll get back into this hour, what I would like to see done with the roster. And, let's be honest, the transfer portal doesn't open until April 7th. But I'm already seeing players announce their intentions to enter the portal. South Carolina is going to have to be Lamont Paris is going to have to be proactive. Jeremiah Donati is going to have to be proactive with supporting Lamont Paris. There's a lot that needs to occur with this basketball program because, there is no reason. And I don't have the reason, folks. I mean, I have theories. I can inundate you with theories for several hours on why I think for 50 years, South Carolina basketball, for the better part of 50 years, has stunk. But it is fixable, and it needs to be fixed. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in if you want to do that. Back to some of the games around college basketball right now as we speak. Kentucky and Florida are getting underway up in Nashville. Tyler, this has been actually, again, a pretty entertaining tournament so far. You've got Mississippi, who's gone on a run, and you got Oklahoma, who has decided it's time to go on a run.
Well, and you have, much like when Carolina entered the tournament, Ole Miss's only path was to win 5 games in 5 days. They've done so, beating Texas and Georgia so far. And Oklahoma, as we talked about going into the tournament, they had to do a little bit more to prove themselves. As of right now, they're still sitting in that first 4 out category per Joe Lunardi. But if they beat the 3 seed Arkansas tonight, that's probably enough to get them in. So you have a lot of teams. Obviously, Auburn was in a position to maybe put themselves in yesterday had they beaten Tennessee and closed that one out. Obviously, ended up blowing that. So you have a lot of different storylines kind of playing out in the SEC right now in terms of teams kind of floating around that bubble, trying to lock themselves in and see how many teams. It's not going to be as many as last year, obviously, but see how many teams the conference is going to be able to get in.
Keep an eye out. With just about 12 minutes to go in the game, there could be an automatic bid stealer occurring. St. Louis, who is 27-4 in the A10 and is pretty much is a lock to be in the NCAA tournament, is trailing by 4. They were down 14 at halftime to George Washington. St. Louis is expected to win the A10 and find themselves into the NCAA tournament. Should they be eliminated, there goes another bubble spot that we would be talking about for Miami of Ohio or Auburn. Keep an eye on this.
Yep.
George Washington is opened back up now at 3-point. That just St. Louis just hit a 3. It's a now 3-point game under the 12-minute mark. But again, George Washington not in contention, 18-14, 8-10 overall. But if St. Louis were to lose that game, those bubble slots, one pops somewhere.
And that's what makes this so fun. Obviously, the tournament itself is a blast. And keeping up with all these, especially the mid-major tournaments where they are typically one bid leagues to kind of see who comes out on top. Obviously, Furman beat a number 1 seed in East Tennessee State the other day to get that spot. And you again have option scenarios like Miami of Ohio and St. Louis, who may not win their tournament, but could be those bid stealers, like you said, based on what they've done in the regular season. Obviously, Miami of Ohio helped out tremendously by Auburn losing that game yesterday to Tennessee, because those are the two teams we've been debating a lot. And I think at this point they've done enough to be able to get themselves in, and we'll have to see what happens on Sunday.
So we'll continue to monitor that. Other scores from around the country taking place. It is halftime in the Big Ten quarterfinal. Michigan up 4 on Ohio State. Ohio State is another bubble team. Ohio State might have more attention being paid to the A10 than their actual game. What's taking place? Florida. You just heard Brad Edwards come on. He said, take the Gators. He was all over the Gators. All the numbers, any numbers, all over the Gators. And they are all over Kentucky within the first 4 minutes. It's 10-4.
He's not biased at all about that, is he?
No, but his team's rolling.
His team's great. Yeah, they're my national championship pick.
Yeah. You and him, y'all are in it together. Florida has jumped all over the Kentucky Wildcats. That's an interesting situation with Kentucky. We just talked about spending money. They're fine. Kentucky's fine. They're 21-12. They are not a national championship team. And how long does Kentucky deal with not being a national, because it doesn't feel like that's where they're going under Mark Pope?
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is obviously Carolina would kill to be in a position of a Kentucky where you're routinely in the tournament each and every year. But yeah, their standard obviously is winning national championships, which it's been 14 years now since they last won one, 2012 with Calipari. So it's been a while. And they've always kind of floated around the top of the SEC, but they don't feel like they're anywhere close to getting back to that spot. And again, Mark Pope was a Kentucky guy, so he was a popular choice once Calipari had left for Arkansas. But man, they're getting a little fed up pretty quickly there, because just being decent in the SEC is not good enough.
So we'll keep an eye on that one as we roll along. 803-404-6100. Also coming up this hour, we will get into FanDuel coming out with their over-under projected win total for 2026 for South Carolina football. I don't even know how you're going to react. It's Friday. I don't want to anger you, but I may. I'll tell you about that. But coming up next, it's our high school highlights of the week. We have concluded the boys and girls state championships, and we'll tell you a little bit about that. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Tyler Head, Cale Wilson back in studio, and Chris Deering joins us next. It's the halftime show. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where I can look outside and see that it's a beautiful Friday afternoon. But you know what's coming? Those spring thunderstorms, those spring showers, followed by the heavy thunderstorms of the summer. And that leads me to ask you, are you thinking about your roof right now? No, you're not. You're thinking about spring and summer vacations. But Mid-State Roofing is. That's all they think about. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what makes them the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industries. Their dedication to keeping your home or your business dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can give them a phone call midnight. You'll speak with an on-call technician, or you can speak with a Mid-State Roofing employee during hours. Just make the phone call. 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. You know what they say at Mid-State Roofing. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. 803-404-6100. We'll get to Chris Deering in just a few minutes as we get him going. Teddy weighs. I'm sorry? We're ready to go? Okay. All right. Well, we'll get to your text messages. We'll circle back. I'll circle back to this basketball stuff here in just a few minutes. Again, I might even have a player that I want to see retained that might surprise a few of y'all, but we'll get to all that. But joining us now, a man who is fresh off of a long weekend and no time for the rest, though. It's time for baseball and all the other spring goodies that come along with high school sports. Chris Deering welcoming in this afternoon. And Chris, so it was just a phenomenal weekend where it needs to be at Colonial Life Arena for state championships last week.
Yeah, that was it was nice to have it back in Columbia. You know, it was a 3-day event, 4 games each day, and I was able to talk to a bunch of people each day actually, and everybody was just pleased with it back in Columbia, back at the Colonial Life Arena. It was a great atmosphere for all the games. I'm gonna give a shout out to the C.A. Johnson community and the Bethune-Bowman. The Class A game on Saturday afternoon packed the lower bowl out. I mean, it was pretty full, and it was a really entertaining game. So, love to see that atmosphere. It's something that I feel like has been missing from the state championships for the last 5 or 6 years when it was being held in Aiken and being held in Florence. But I think it needs to be back here in Columbia. I hope everybody has that same thought coming out of last weekend, and you know, the high school league and South Carolina can work something out. I know a lot of it is dependent on the men and women's basketball schedules, but hopefully they can work something out where that weekend will be open and they can keep having these championships here in Columbia.
Chris, what from a player reaction standpoint did you see out of them from getting the opportunity to play over at CLA for those state titles?
So yeah, I actually talked to a couple of players as well about that same fact, and especially those C.A. Johnson kids, you know, being right here locally, they were thrilled to be able to play in the big arena, play for a state championship. Only the 3rd boys state championship in school history. Our good friend, the captain, Kerry Rich, he won a state championship. Then they won another one in 2014, and then 2026 they won another title. But those kids were ecstatic to be in the Colonial Life Arena. Like I said, they had a very big cheering section. Bethune-Bowman brought a very large cheering section. So that, again, just a great atmosphere. And, you know, I tell everybody, people didn't travel to Aiken, I didn't feel like. And then the Florence Center, the stands are so far away from the floor, from the court, and it just didn't have a really good basketball atmosphere. But here you did, and you could tell the kids were excited to be in the big arena. You could tell they were excited to play. I will tell you, Lou Bajak and I sat together all 3 days, and Lou's working on something now. He's trying to get attendance figures for the last couple of years compared to this year. And I don't think it's going to be close. I think the attendance was great, much higher this past weekend than it has been previously. So those numbers should be coming out here in the next few weeks. He had to file a FOIA thing to get the information, but I know he's working on that. And that'll be good to see, just to see what type of impact it truly had on Columbia.
Do we know, obviously, a lot ongoing with the high school league right now and what the future may hold for that, what the plan is for this state championship moving forward?
You know, it's on a year-to-year basis, so we do not know right now. I would love to, again, you know, selfishly, I'd love to see them all back in Columbia. A lot easier for me to get to. But again, it's not about me, and I don't think it's about, you know, the coaches, the administration, and all this at the schools that are able to participate in the state championship. To me, it's about the kids and putting them in the best type of environment they can be in. You look across the country at some of the places the kids get to play in. You know, in Georgia, I think they play the football championships in the Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. That's what it's about. And you know, you take that experience with you for the rest of your life. Bill, you got to play in the state championship in basketball. I got to play in one in football. It's just something you're never going to forget. Win, lose, or draw, you're never going to forget it. And so I just think it needs to be in the big arena, and hopefully, again, it's a lot's got to be worked out with the University of South Carolina. Again, like you just said, the high school league is in flux a little bit. We don't know what directions that's going in just yet, but hopefully the powers that be can sit down at the table and get something worked out to get these championships back in Columbia.
Yeah, it'll be certainly something to kind of continue to monitor. From the weekend, you mentioned C.A. Johnson standing out a little bit. What else kind of stood out in terms of players that should get a shout out, coaches that should get a shout out? Even cheerleading groups they got. Who do you got?
Well, so I think we got to start off with Richmond too. Ridgeview boys, Westwood boys, and the Blythewood girls all won state championships. I tweeted this out after Blythewood won. Excuse me, it was after Ridgeview won on Friday night. I think you got to call, Richmond too, the basketball capital of South Carolina. Really good programs over there, a lot of good coaches. Josh Staley he's proven it time and time again. That Ridgeview team, they've won 7 of the last 9 state championships. I think they are the standard right now in boys high school basketball in the state. Westwood had a great run in the playoffs. They only lost 3 games, I think, all year. Really talented team, really great coach. And so I think, again, great basketball there. Blythewood girls, they won back-to-back state championships now. So you got to say that basketball in that area is thriving and really driving the state right at this point. And then on the flip side, I think you got to look at the North Augusta girls. I think they've won now 6 out of 8, I think. So not quite where 7 out of 10. It was 7 out of 10 state championships for the North Augusta girls. So, another dynasty there. They seem to be there every single year. The Military Magnet girls in Class A, they've done it again, and they've won 5 out of 6 now. So some dominant teams, some dominant programs really, were the story of the weekend, I felt like. But we did have some good games. In the boys, 3A, Christchurch beat Fox Creek 52-49. Kid David Dixon hit a 3 in the corner with about 7 seconds to go for the game-winning basket. And I came right after Fox Creek had hit a 3 to tie it at 49. Christchurch didn't call timeout, went down the court, found him open in the corner, sort of a high pass. He had to go up and get it. But he, had the wits about him to get down and take a good jumper, a good shot, and nothing but net. Fox Creek came back down and attempted a 3 to tie it, but it was way off the mark. And so that was really entertaining game. Jordan Butler, South Carolina player, his dad is the coach at Christchurch. So he's won another state championship. I think that's his 3rd or 4th in leading Christchurch. And then the final game of the weekend was really good. North Augusta boys were in the state championship. First time they had ever won it. They beat South Point 64-56 in double overtime. Just a whale of a game there. Each team threw knockout punches, and it was countered by the other team. South Point, I know, is thinking about the what if. They had the ball at the end of regulation and at the end of the first overtime with a chance to win it and missed shots. So kudos to that North Augusta team that, knocked off Great Collegiate during the playoffs and came in and won a state championship. And that was really, good to see. I think it was the first time since 2020 when Keenan did it that both the boys and girls team from the same school won the state championship. So just, again, really good games over the whole weekend. Another game that was close and came down to the wire was Philip Simmons beating High Point in the 2A boys 50-46. And two kids for C.A. Johnson I'm going to single out, Isaac Germany and Javarius White. They scored 24 each in their victories. That team's loaded. They're deep. They do have a good many seniors, but Milton McRae's going to be back. And Robert McRae's coaching over there. He's got that program turned in the right direction, and I'm excited to see what he can do coming up in the future years.
Last about 60 seconds here as we wrap up basketball. What's your overall takeaways from kind of everything that you saw this season?
One thing I think that we have to point out is I think basketball in this state is still really strong. You don't maybe necessarily see the Zion Williamson, this definite power forward kid that came through the state. But there's a lot of talent in the state that can play on a lot of different levels at the collegiate level, and I think that came to the forefront on both the boys and girls side for me this past weekend. Didn't mention the two girls from Blythewood, Chase Thomas and India Williams. They came in as ninth graders. The season before they got there, Blythewood was 0-19, and they capped their career with 2 state championships back to back. So the talent is here in South Carolina. I think these coaches just have to find it, and I think this basketball it's always been good in this state, but I still think it's a little bit on an upswing right now.
Chris, we always appreciate it. Next week, attention turns to baseball, to the track and field, to all the great lacrosse. Get your lacrosse stuff ready so Kale and you can have a conversation. We got a lot to get to. Season's nowhere near being done. Several months left, but get a quick break this week, and we look forward to catching up next week.
Yep, you guys have a great weekend, and talk to you then.
You too.
Thanks, Chris.
Take care. Chris Deering joining us, as always, for our high school highlights of the week. We'll come back. NFL free agency's going wild. Well, we'll let Tyler explain. Kel will get into that as well. You're listening to the Halftime Show.
Hey, you got old timey here. Yep.
Bill Gunner for Old Timey Meat Market. It is Friday, Meat Friday. That means going by Old Timey Meat Market in Lexington and getting maybe a great steak for tonight, maybe some chicken, Italian chicken skewers. Maybe want to go with some salmon. I talked about that. Somebody hit me up with some trout earlier. I'm going to have to go see if Old Timey Meat Market's got that. Here's what I do know. Old Timey Meat Market has got you taken care of. I'm telling you, there is a reason I just love going in there. It is the way they treat me, the customer. They want to make it an old-timey meat buying experience where they know your name, they know your family's name, they know your kids' name, they know what you like. It's not a grocery store just experience. It is a family experience where you feel comfortable. Your neighborhood meat market. So go visit one of the 3 locations. St. Andrews Road in Irmo, South Congaree, or the Lexington store. Talk with the butchers. Let them explain the incredible cuts of meat and why they have the absolute best prices. Stop by Old Timey Meat Market today and tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Okay.
Live from ProSwing 4708 Forest Drive, where we got everything going here. We got a little NFL Network, Quiddy Pay on right now, being interviewed. Florida has gone up 6 on Kentucky in the first half, up in Nashville, and
Kentucky just closed the gap mightily a few minutes ago.
Yeah, they did. They got
about a 10-point game,
1 or 2, but a 6-point game now. And Xander Schauffele right now in the lead at the second round of the players. He is 9 under for the tournament. A good group of golfers not far behind him. One of the guys that is in a little bit of trouble, Rory McIlroy, +2, and he just missed a birdie putt there that would have gotten him to +1. He is dealing with a back issue. Colin Morikawa pulling out yesterday, obviously, also due to a back injury. So we got a lot going on here. Michigan, all the way, also also on a television here, and they are up on Ohio State. You want a hot take?
Sure.
Ready for a hot take?
Go for it.
Kyler Murray's making a massive mistake.
Kyler Murray's making a massive mistake?
Massive
or
mistake.
The Vikings are making a massive mistake?
Kyler Murray.
Why is that?
Staying in the wrong sport, boss. Staying in the wrong sport.
Oh,
he should
go back to baseball.
I said for a long time, baseball would be his better sport. I didn't clip that. I did make some kind of ludicrous prediction that he would do something better in baseball than he would in football. But now's the time, Tyler. Kyler Murray should. I don't know how it works precisely. In terms of his contractual rights with the Oakland A's. Like, I think they still technically have him. I could be wrong on that.
You might be right. I'm not specific on that, but they did draft him.
I'm not sure exactly how that works, but Kyler Murray will be 29 coming up in August. This is it. This is where you make your – I'm sorry. You're not a bad NFL player. He's not like – he's not Nathan Peterman.
No.
But Kyler Murray right now would have been the time to go, you know what? This ain't going to work. I'm hanging it up and I'm going. Again, I think it's the A's who he would go into the organization with. And I would assume at his age, they would be like, all right, we're going to fast track you and see if you can get this done. Remember, because he was projected. I don't remember where he was exactly selected in the Major League Baseball draft.
It was high.
But he was projected that he could have been a first-round draft pick if he was. Now, he was actually, I'm sorry, he was a first-round draft. He was picked ninth by the A's. This is, son, take a chance. Shoot your shot. You got money. Get out of the NFL. Stop running the risk of CTE and a concussion and everything. Go play some baseball.
Yeah, like you said, he's 29 years old, so still young enough where – that is an option. He's obviously dealt with some injuries and stuff like that. But, yeah, if there was ever a time to make that jump, you'd be about there now. But, hey, he's still committed to football, and he's now a Minnesota Viking.
Not a move that I think is a good one. Like I said, if it was me, I'd tell him, man. And, again, I'm not – the one thing after looking, I'm not sure how that works with his contract, if he would indeed be an Oakland A. But – that's what I would have done.
The Oakland A's anymore.
That's a good point.
Right now, they're just the Athletics.
They
don't have a home yet.
That's a good point too. But that's what I would do for him if I were he, and that's why I'm saying, yeah, the Vikings. I get it. You're taking a quarterback, and for the Vikings, I actually don't think it's a bad move. He comes in and he performs well enough. You got a solid quarterback on a decent little contract. It's not costing you a ton of money.
Well, and I can understand the Vikings' hesitancy to commit to J.J. McCarthy at this point in time. Again, injured 2 years ago, and that's where we had the rebirth of Sam Darnold. This past year, he got more of an opportunity because he was healthy, and it wasn't great. Let's be honest. So you have a guy that's already dealt with a one season-ending injury. He gives you a season as a starter for the most part, very up and down, not consistent. So yeah, you're not ready to fully hand the reins over to him. You bring in a guy like Murray on a very cheap contract for 1 year, see what can happen. You've not given up on J.J. McCarthy, but this kind of seems like a make or break point as he goes into his third year in the league.
The other interesting thing from the NFL, Max Crosby fails his physical. Therefore, the trade falls through with the Ravens and the Raiders. And this is odd to me because it feels like, at least from Crosby and the Raiders side, they're like, yay, you're back, good. That you didn't really want to leave anyway. We didn't really want to trade you, and Crosby kind of comes across as like, I didn't really want to be traded. I didn't want to go anywhere, but y'all trade. Like it's kind of
It's a fractured relationship, and that goes back to how they handled him at the end of last year with his injury. Didn't let him play the last couple games, so it kind of seemed like both sides were kind of done with each other. And look, it made sense the trade that they made. And they were going to get 2 first-round picks for it, one for this year and one for next year, which is going to help them out tremendously. And assuming that money was off the books from them, they were going out and signing a bunch of free agents, did a lot of deals on defense, signed Tyler Lindenbaum to play center for their offensive line. And then it's like, oh, wait, he's back. Oh, wait, now we still have to pay him again. Like, I don't know how they're going to work all that out.
At the end of
the
day,
Ravens moved quickly, though. They have added today Trey Hendrickson from originally the Cincinnati Bengals, and Hendrickson is second in the NFL in these stats. In fourth quarter sacks. Follow me again on that, folks. Hendrickson is second in the NFL in fourth quarter sacks since 2021 with 26.5. So apparently he only plays the fourth quarter. I don't know. Take it however you want to.
Well, and he didn't play the entire year this past season, but in the prior 2 years, he had 35 total sacks. So one of the best in the league. And obviously going to a situation in Baltimore that they thought they were addressing with Max Crosby because they need help on defense, particularly with pass rush. And now you get that with Trey Hendrickson.
Bill, to your point about the Max Crosby trade, about how you were saying the Raiders didn't really want to trade him or that Crosby didn't really want to be traded. I feel like if they really didn't want to be traded, I feel like if they really didn't want that trade to be happened, it wouldn't have happened in the first place.
So the way I perceived it is what Tyler explained. They felt like they could get more, and I did understand this. They could get more assets by freeing up that contract of Max Crosby, which they did, right? They went out and they did.
Yeah, they had done it. I thought they did.
They thought, and Tyler brings up a great point as to it pertains. Like, how do you? I don't know how that works now with Tyler Lindenbaum and some of the other moves made, but it was a move that made sense. Like, hey, we're gonna get rid of one dude to land 4 or 5 guys that we think can enhance our football team, but we don't really want to do it. I didn't take it as the relationship was overly fractured. There's always things that occur when you have, when two sides are negotiating and careers are on the line like this. And as Tyler pointed out, there's injuries involved. But to me, it was a move where the Raiders saw a chance to increase their team by getting rid of one singular player. But at the same time, Max Crosby, he even put out, did I see this correctly yesterday? Kind of a graphic of like, hey, I'm back. Let's get it going. Oh, I'm here.
Well, for now, that's your only option unless another team wants to do business with you. And again, when you have the failed physical, and Terry tells me that the Ravens have maybe a more strenuous physical process than some other teams out there. So maybe it's not a surprise that happened, but that does damage your perception around the league if other teams are interested in trading you, certainly from a Raiders perspective in terms of what those teams are willing to give you for Max Crosby. Because, again, you're about to get 2 first-round picks for him.
Right.
And I don't know if you're going to be able to get that from anybody else.
Well, and again, that's what I'm saying. Like, they to me, Cale, it was a matter of the Raiders seeing a chance to enhance their entire franchise as opposed to just holding on to one player. And what is Crosby? Crosby is almost 30. Am I right on that?
He's right around there.
It's kind of like by the time I felt like I saw what they were trying to accomplish.
He's 28.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, he's right there at it, and it fell through. And now it'll be interesting to see how the financial aspect of it comes to fruition.
Well,
803-4. Go ahead.
Well, they definitely did upgrade their defense big time. I mean, you see all the signings they made. I mean, I think it definitely they definitely had an upgrade on the defensive side of the ball at least.
Well, sure, yeah, but my question is going to be now financially, how do they? I don't know how that works. You see what I'm saying? They devoted a lot of money that they did not think they were paying Max Crosby. Am I right on that? I'm right on that, right?
Yeah,
I don't know how that works when now he comes back and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's for them to figure out.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll talk a little ProSwing here with our good buddy David. You're listening to the halftime show. Bill Gunner, Tyler Head, Kel Wilson, live from ProSwing 4708 Forest Drive, where we're spending our Friday in the comfy comforts of a golf course. That's right. It is not. We were complaining that David's in shorts, short sleeve shirt. I'm over here in a sweater, a pullover. I'm always freezing. But you come in here, David, and it's nice, 72 degrees. There's TVs. We got behind us Kentucky and Florida. Michigan's got a 3-point lead with 6.5 to go on Ohio State. You got beverages of choice. And the thing you're most excited about, you got tickets to Masters that people might want to win.
Yeah, we do. You know, we were lucky enough to get a hold of some Masters tickets. And as much as I'd like to be there, we figured we'd pass it along to our clientele and see if we can get somebody out there that hasn't been and wants to check that place out. It's beautiful.
So what do they got to do now? People can't just show up and go, "Hey, you got Masters tickets? I would like them." There are some requirements
it's not like when we give away baseball.
Right?
Tickets.
Yeah, you don't just come up and say, "Hey, here you got tickets." You got to come out to ProSwing 4708 Forest Drive. I'll go ahead and say it's right next to a Bonefish Grill, and I believe this is an Orange Therapy right behind me. It's right here on the main drag on Forest Drive. But what can people do to enter to win these tickets?
Yeah, so we're going to be giving away a set of Sunday Masters tickets.
Okay.
The drawing is going to be April 10th. And in order to register, all you have to do is book a 2-hour booking at full price.
Okay.
Yep. So we've got, obviously different booking options, whether it's online, via phone call, things like that. But all you do, book it under your name. We do the drawing April 10th and cross your fingers. I hope it's you.
Now, one thing that y'all have got going on here that we talk all the time. We come out here and we say, "Hey, you can go play." Somebody was playing Bay Hill down here. Somebody's playing
Sabonic.
Okay, I can't quite see that. I think I got good eyesight. Last time I saw somebody playing St. Andrews. But one thing y'all have here is the Ledbetter Golf School, where people can actually get lessons. And obviously, this time of year, we can't quite predict the weather. One day it's in the 90s, one day it's in the 40s. So this is a great place to come where you can get some lessons. And when you talk about booking a bay for 2 hours, that can also be part of the lessons, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So we actually got Dylan here today. He's on our third bay here doing a little lesson. He just finished his free swing evaluation with Noah over there. Get him in, get some swings in, get some data back for him, and then now they hop right into a lesson. And, we offer those throughout the entire week at both of our locations here and in Chapin. And, we kind of talked the last time, there's so much that goes to the game of golf. People just want to get better, and it's tough to do on your own. You can watch as many YouTube videos as you want. You can tweak your grip. You can do everything, but there's a lot of things that it takes an instructor, somebody who's certified that actually has some experience doing this. And Dylan's a stick.
Yeah.
I go out there and play with him. He's like a 2.
Okay.
I'm like a 20. I don't need to take lessons from myself. He's down to
wow. That is humble. That is not humble at all. Wow, that was very aggressive. He held up one finger to inform us that we were one off. Thank you, Dylan.
He's actually going to be doing the qualifier.
Okay.
Yeah, the U.S. Open qualifier.
Oh, right.
It's going to be at Salina coming up soon, so he's going to be doing that.
Well, we look forward to tracking that with you.
Yeah, so I got a guy like that in my corner. My swing can't be that bad.
You'd be surprised. Charles Barkley was
true.
But that's great. But real quick, Tyler, we'll get to you. But talk about that. Yeah, lessons. You can come out here. He's got him on a simulator right now. It's called. It looks like it's Golf Zone, if I'm reading it correctly. And they are working on. You said Noah is hitting. Poor Noah is hit what appears to be 154 shots right now. So it's not just, hey, come swing a couple times. We're going to analyze and tell you. It is a full-fledged lesson like you would get from anywhere else. And again, you're doing it indoors with a private instructor.
Absolutely. So one of the big proponents of our machine is the ability to tee the ball up on its own. So you're not chasing a ball and chasing a tee. You can get work in without having to go try and find everything that you're supposed to do. So he's able to get up to 155, 156 swings, and he's been here, about an hour?
Right.
So you get work in, and based off of all the technology it gives you, you can learn, is it your swing path? It could be as simple as your grip just needs a little bit of an adjustment. So that's what that time has taken, is just real one-on-one working to see what's going right, what's going wrong, and how to help progress your game where you want it to be.
Well, especially for somebody that is just trying to get into golf in general, it's a lot less intimidating than being out on the course trying to learn on the fly. They're obviously a relaxed, climate controlled environment like here, where again, if you know nothing, you're trying to start from scratch, it's a great place to do it at.
Absolutely. One thing I just talked with Dylan about last week is we're going to start launching a beginner's course. So a lot of our lessons that we do, people already have an idea of what they want to start working on.
Right.
Hey, my driver just won't stay between the trees. I can't get my 3-wood off the ground. So there's specific things in their game they want to tweak, which we could definitely accommodate. There's also someone that's never picked up a stick before. There's also someone that is very high handicap that just doesn't know what they're doing at all.
Yeah.
So in this beginner program, we're going to look at doing is we're going to start from the basics. We're going to break down the grip. We're going to break down the posture. We're going to break down everything that builds your swing out. And then the next week we'll progress to irons. And the next week we might progress to driver. So it's a full start to finish style course instead of it being just focusing on one thing.
Also, and I'll tell more people about this, we appreciate you joining us. TaylorMade. You guys have TaylorMade Club since the spring is here.
That's right. So we do have the TaylorMade fitting ability here to start doing some guided demos with all the new 4D technology, the LS driver, the standard driver, everything you can ask for from TaylorMade we got.
David, we always appreciate it, man.
Every time. Appreciate you guys for coming out and seeing us.
Absolutely.
Hour
Thank
3
you.
on the way. It's the halftime show. If there's anything you hear this hour that you want to be a part of, we got some breaking news, a little bit of breaking news coming in. So the college basketball world, we're going to talk some about this. We now know what South Carolina is going to do with Lamont Paris. So, okay, all right, that's done and over with. We now kind of look at around the country what other jobs could be opening up within the last 10 minutes. Cincinnati will now part ways with Wes Miller. Wes Miller, once considered a big hot shot up and comer, played basketball at the University of North Carolina, did some really good things at UNC Greensboro, went to Cincinnati. It looked like he was in some trouble. They then went to Kansas earlier this year and just popped the Jayhawks in Fog Allen by 16. Finished the season, I wouldn't say strong, but it looked like he might get one more year. His buyout was roughly around $10 million. I believe I've seen 9. It does say, this is according to Matt Norlander, the plan is for a formal separation to go official on April 1st when Miller's buyout dropped substantially from $9.9 million to $4.7 million.
That's pretty significant.
So also within the last hour, there has been some discussion. We're going to get back into basketball here. Virginia Tech has announced they have declined an opportunity to compete in the 2026 National Invitational Tournament. The other night, Lamont Paris did discuss the NIT a little bit. He said what I kind of think you should say. It would be up to the players and their motivation, Tyler. I agree. I don't see a reason for continuing this season. It's time to move on and get this thing fixed for 2027.
And what is it? It's the top 2 teams in the SEC that don't receive NCAA tournament invites, right? Isn't that what they restructured it to a year ago? And again, last year you're in a position where there's only 2 teams that didn't make it,
right?
And obviously opted to not go there. But yeah, this is a time of, I think, very much transition where there's a lot of guys that could come back that may not be coming back that want to obviously take the opportunity to probably enter the portal here in a couple weeks, and you're reevaluating everything. So yeah, I don't know how into it those guys would be.
So we will keep you updated. I am pursuing a legitimate report that Casey Alexander, the Belmont coach, has taken the Kansas State job, but I do not see anything that I would deem right now just yet from one of the true insiders of college basketball to have put that out. So I'll continue.
I saw that from Rothstein.
Did you? Okay,
I'm double check. I thought I did.
I'm looking at Goodman and Norlander now, and unless I've missed it from those, I have not seen it come across. Even though, and I think Norlander is probably the best in the business right now. Goodman, who we will have on in the coming weeks, does appear. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, Norlander does have something up. I missed it. K-State being the first Power 5 off the board with the hiring of Belmont's Casey Alexander. A little bit of a surprise there, I should say. Also in basketball news, St. Louis and Josh Schertz have agreed to terms on a contract. That doesn't mean a whole lot, mind you.
They're just trying to make it harder for somebody to poach him. But given the season that St. Louis has had, then he's going to be very sought after.
He is going to be sought after. And as I look for an update right now, St. Louis, that game has now gone final in the A10. And St. Louis, who was trailing, St. Louis has rallied to beat George Washington 88-81. Why is that important? If you're into the NCAA tournament, that preserves a bubble team that would not have had their bubble burst by St. Louis losing. So St. Louis, who was trailing in that game with about 10 minutes to go, has rallied with no problem and wins 88-81 over George Washington. So there is some basketball news. 803-404-6100. We're going to get back into basketball in just a minute here. But real quick, we are live again at ProSwing, 4708 Forest Drive. Thank you to David Johnston for joining us there. Did want to mention, he didn't get a chance to talk about it, you need to come and check out their line of tailor-made golf clubs that they've got out here. He was just showing me during the break. We will be back out here leading up to the Masters, and we will get him back on, and we will explain everything. You got to come see it. It is amazing, Tyler. Now, I started golf at about 12 or 13, and my dad put some old wooden clubs in my hand, because I was 12 or 13 and basically was like, all right, son, if you like golf, we'll upgrade you. And I liked golf. It is amazing what they do with golf clubs these days, to where now you take the head, the shaft, You fit them all together, you basically create a different thing. And here at ProSwing, you can do just that. You need to come by here, 4708 Forest Drive, and check out this incredible line of tailor-made drivers, rescue woods, fairway woods, and irons that they have. And again, they got the bays where you can just walk right over and hit them. You don't even have to walk across the range. You don't have to go outside. You can just walk right here and hit them into the screen and find out if you like them or not.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a possible thing to do with golf clubs. That's pretty neat. It's also one of those things that, again, we come out here a lot, and I was like, there's something different about the way things are set up compared to last time. And there was a table over there last time, but yeah, you got this interchangeable thing with TaylorMade. Again, they're a TaylorMade dealer. Got some golf bags up there as well that you can come out and check out too. So yeah, they got pretty much everything you need here. It's pretty neat.
So again, make sure you come on by out here, and whether you play one of their incredible 300 courses, whether you check out some actual clubs, or whether you're just hanging out with the fellas on a Saturday afternoon, grabbing a beverage, great place to come and be a part of it. 803-404-6100. By the way, last night, listen, y'all know me. I'm a Brad Burnell fan, and Clemson's got a winner, man. Clemson is lucky to have Brad Burnell. Clemson fans, you should count your stars every day that you got Brad. You bunch of bitter, angry people trying to fire Brad Burnell. They roll over North Carolina last night, and you talk about a team when we start doing our brackets that you might want to look at being knocked out early in the tournament because Caleb Wilson is no longer out or no longer playing. He's got the hand injury, and North Carolina now suffering some injuries there. But kudos to Clemson, and they get a fun one. Count me in. I'm excited tonight. Blue Devils and Tigers. I'm putting Blue Devils on upset alert. I might take Duke's got a few small issues right now. Clemson's playing well. My guy Brad Burnell is getting the job done up there. Clemson fans, you're about as lucky as you can get. Count your lucky stars you got Brad Burnell, and you guys didn't fire him like a bunch of y'all thought you should have. You'd have been morons for doing that. So Clemson with a great win last night.
Yeah, no, that'll be a fun one today. Well, that's the late game, I believe, in the ACC. Then Miami and Virginia, the other semifinal, for the championship coming up tomorrow. So, yeah, it should be fun.
So that'll be tonight. Also, later tonight, we mentioned that Oklahoma and Arkansas in the SEC tournament. The Big East is the one, Tyler, that's got some really good games. Big East and Big 12 tonight have some really good games taking place coming up later today. I mentioned the Big East game. It's going to be a lot of fun coming up at roughly about 5:30 today. Seton Hall takes on St. John's in one of the semifinals there. And then the late game in the Big East tonight, Georgetown. Ed Cooley making a bit of a run. Ed Cooley's still doing out there, but he takes on Connecticut and big, mean, angry Danny Hurley, who goes around. Did you see that video, by the way, of him bumping? He bumped the ref.
Oh, yeah.
He bumped the ref and then lied about bumping the ref.
Yeah, well, and I said this the other day, that he's one of those guys that loses the benefit of the doubt because he is such a hothead. Like if Lamont Paris was in that situation, we'd say, maybe he didn't do it. But yeah, Dan Hurley, no doubt. I think he got fined at $25K for that because that was the last game of the regular season. But yeah, no, they're a team that obviously didn't roll in with the most momentum going into the Big East tournament. We'll see how they fare tonight.
So that'll be a lot of fun. The Big 12 also, again, with some really good games tonight. Arizona, Iowa State headline that at 7 o'clock. Arizona's number 2 in the country, taking on number 7 Iowa State. Again, that one coming from Kansas City. Now, if you followed this storyline a little bit, they are going to switch, or they've switched back today.
Yep.
If you haven't seen it, it's been really cool. I don't know what it's like to play on. I would have loved to dribble a basketball on it, to run on it. Some players have complained there was an injury that occurred. But if you haven't been paying attention, the Big 12 had was it LED?
It is LED glass is basically what it was, where the entire court was basically a video screen, and it allowed them to do a lot of different things, put graphics up there when the team's doing intros or in timeouts, put sponsors on the court.
Change the court at one point. I think they had a different kind of way. It was wild.
Like a light show and all that kind of stuff. And like the concept is good. I get what they're trying to go for here. But even going back to last week in the women's tournament, there was complaints about, hey, it's a little slicker than a typical hardwood floor is. Again, you mentioned some injuries, some guys falling, not getting the grip they need on the floor. I don't know if I would have experimented with this in your conference tournament, or teams are obviously trying to decide or figure out their future for the rest of the season in the conference tournament and all that kind of stuff. And they did eventually come to their senses saying, hey, maybe this isn't the best thing to do as we get into our final 3 most important games today and tomorrow. But yeah, that was certainly a decision. That thing cost hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So that was a risky a thing to trot out for your conference tournament. But again, I get the concept, but I think maybe the execution wasn't there.
Kansas and Houston, the late game there in the Big 12. So we've got a lot of great basketball tonight. I mentioned Clemson Duke's going to be a lot of fun. Pulling for I know, I'm a Gamecock homer, but I'm pulling for the Brad Brunells there and the Tigers in that game. And then I mentioned the Big 12 is going to be a lot of fun with Arizona and Iowa State, Kansas and Houston tonight, and the Big 12. Big 10's got good games as well. Michigan State and Nebraska. Is it Purdue, Nebraska? I haven't paid as much attention. Michigan, Ohio State's on behind me right now, but the Big 12 and the Big East and the ACC tonight, all with some really good games to get into. 803-404-6100. We will get back into South Carolina basketball coming up. We'll follow that this hour with FanDuel's South Carolina over-under prediction that a lot of you are probably going to be ready to throw something at when we tell you that. We'll get into all of that. You're listening to the early game. So the decision's in. I've said this a couple times, and we'll wrap this conversation up. What does South Carolina do going forward, Tyler, with Lamont Paris? What are you going to do financially? What are we going to do with the roster? What are you going to do to fix this? Well, I went through the roster earlier. I went through some of the roster, the guys that I really like.
Yep.
For example, in my opinion, I want to see them keep Eli Ellis. Do what you got to do to keep Eli Ellis. Now, everybody's got a number. Where's your money guy? Everybody's got a price, and Eli Ellis has a price, and you can't go crazy matching that. But you got to keep him. I like keeping Grant Polk. I think Grant Polk is definitely worth keeping. EJ Walker, I want to see him keep. Let's go down the list a little bit. Cam Scott, I know he redshirted. I want to see him brought back. I want to see development of him. I'm wanting to see development here of all these guys. You go through the list. Hayden Simeon is another guy. I like the freshman class. You're going to bring Marcus Johnson in. That right there is 6 players. All right. Remember, you get 15 scholarships now, Tyler. Are you ready for the one player? Bring him back. You don't have to play him. He can be 10 through 15. Keep him on your roster. Chris Asandiko. I know you are like Gunner. Did you see it? Yes. Keep the 7-footer. Go recruit more. Don't ask him to play a lot of minutes. If he improves, he improves. If his conditioning gets better, his conditioning gets better. Don't get rid of a 7-footer that has that kind of size, not in the SEC where you're getting bullied around. He's got to get better. I'm not saying, but there are guys on this team that I'm okay saying you can walk, you can go. Asandiko is not one of those guys because I'm hoping, I'm counting a great year in strength and conditioning, a great year developing. He gets one more year. And if he's a guy who come off the bench and give you 8 to 10 minutes a game, and that's 4 to 5 a half, I like it. And I think he's a player. When you go 15 scholarships, you got to keep on your roster. Oh, did I turn you down? I'm sorry.
Turn me down. Sorry.
All right, let's get you back up.
I was going to say he certainly looks the part, so there might be something there. Again, you wouldn't be expecting him to play a major starting role, so there's something to be said about that. And again, at this point, and we know these exit meetings and stuff are going on right now where it has to be player wants to come back and coaching staff wants to keep them, because there's going to be some guys where you look at and say, hey, you may want to come back here. We don't think we have a role for you because, again, how critical this upcoming year is going to be, and also about how you allocate your resources. And that was something else that Lamont Paris was asked about the other day, like, hey, do you guys need a general manager? Because, look, Lamont Paris, he's a ball coach. I don't think anybody doubts that he knows his X's and O's, but a lot of programs are going with a true general manager for a reason, because that's a guy that can focus on how to allocate the funds and roster management and all that kind of stuff that, let's face it, not every coach is going to be great at doing. And again, Lamont Paris, heard you say it earlier, maybe miscalculated what he needed to build a good roster this past year. And we obviously saw that, come back to bite South Carolina. So having somebody in a general manager specific type of role certainly wouldn't hurt this team.
I'll tell you what, Kale, let's play this again. This is from Wednesday, so the 11th. This is what Tyler just mentioned because, this is going to be clip number 8, Kale, because Tyler brought it. And this isn't just basketball. This is football. This is pretty much everything these days where you see general managers. Darren Usher is handling this essentially for football, where 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Their focus is not on prepping for the next game. Their focus is on your roster. And also their focus is on who may, getting the scoop and the source, who may be entering the transfer portal. Here is Lamont Paris asked the other night about potentially adding a general manager to his staff.
Yeah, we've talked at times. I mean, some of these titles you look over the last couple, 2-3 years, and teams are adding this or teams are adding that. So, rather than title, I think we have looked at what this thing is. The acquisition of talent is coming down to different things. The evaluation process of talent is happening differently. You're not going to 100 AAU games as much anymore and evaluating guys that way. So I do think that there potentially is some merit to trying to fine tune what your process is, and sometimes that may be personnel. If someone's had real experience in what that looks like, and in onboarding some sort of system that would allow you to evaluate either quickly or to evaluate from a stat sheet more effectively, right? Because it's difficult to evaluate just from the stat sheet. It's something that we have considered. Probably every staff in America has considered that at one point or another. I think it's been implemented with varying levels of success. Some people have done it successfully. Some people have done it and not had success. So a lot of it comes down to the personnel and the fit and all that. But certainly it's something that we have considered.
And it's not only the evaluation and the management, but also understanding what the market is, right? Because we look at the NIL resources these teams are spending. Again, Kentucky's around $22 million this year. A lot of teams in the SEC in that $8 to $10 million range. So you can look at this and say, okay, well, if Carolina commits $10 million next year, that'll put them right there in the middle of the SEC, we think. But these things are going up every single year. So $10 million this year might equate to $6 million, or $10 million this upcoming year might equate to $6 million this past season. You got to understand where everything's going, what these other teams and programs are doing to make sure you're investing enough to be competitive, because you might think you're investing more and being right there in the middle of the pack, but you still could end up at the bottom if you don't understand what these other programs are doing themselves.
Well, I believe it was John Rothstein to put this out about 2 weeks ago. The going rate for a point guard this year, I believe it was Rothstein. It might have been Norlander. It was either Rothstein or Norlander. The going rate for a point guard this year is going to be $3 million.
That would have been half your budget this year.
So, and this is also why I go back. Now, look, I am the big believer that Eli Ellis needs to develop into more of a true, legitimate point guard. He can do that. He's a good ball handler. He's crafty with the ball. No, he's not the quickest point guard out there. He's not going to be Trey Kelly or Devin Downey, but don't ask him to be that. I do think he can knock down the open shot, but you've got to look. You're going to have to look at your roster and go, what can we use on this roster that can be developed, and then where do we cut the dead meat? Here's the player that I ask about, and I'm undecided on this: Elijah Strong, because Elijah Strong did some good things.
He did.
He also has a propensity to continue it. I mean, just not play defense. Like me out there playing defense would be better. Sure. And trust me, I'm dealing with kidney disease. I'm 43. I can't run right now. And I'm pretty sure I can play better defense. Here's the other thing, and I'm going to be point blank about this. And I'm sorry that I'm being critical of a player, but he's getting paid NIL money. You can be critical of him. My concern with Elijah Strong is that he's going to take the Meechie Johnson role of, I'm a senior, because he did this at times anyway. I'm going to let it fly whenever, however, against whomever when I want. I'm the scorer, and he's not.
Yeah.
He can score at times. He had, the 31-point game against LSU. He's a good player, but again, I will keep him if he's willing to play within the role of the team and to fit the role that will be his once we add the transfers.
And again, this team struggled so much when it came to defending near the basket, and being his size and the role that he's asked to play, that's supposed to be part of your game, and it just wasn't there. And again, he's not the only one, but he was one of the glaring ones, because again, offensively, you saw a lot of good things out of him, but with that size, you're supposed to be able to play defense too, and he just wasn't doing that.
No, and that's the biggest thing with him. You're going to go need to find some defensive dudes. And, it's interesting the way Lamont Paris has talked about this team lacking a competitive spirit at times. And I do get Lamont saying one of the things he's saying that's involved is you used to recruit guys for 2 years and you got to know them, and now it's 2 weeks and you get to know them. You've got to have that general manager to dig deep to find guys who have that dog in them.
Yeah.
That's going to show up and play 40 minutes a night and care.
And that's the thing, because for Lamont and Kerry Rich and all these guys, they're looking at tape initially, right? Saying, hey, what does this guy do on the basketball court that we think is going to fit within what we're trying to do? But there's so many layers to this. And again, going back to those relationships you build with guys over, several years, where you get to know their personalities, you get to know their families, you get to know the adversity they've been through in life, how they respond to situations, where by the time you get there, after recruiting them for 2 or 3 years, you know just about everything about them. That's not the case anymore. You are, again, we use the phrase speed dating a lot of these guys, and you're looking primarily at what they do on the court. But again, especially in a league like the SEC, where there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, you don't know everything you have in those guys. You don't know what kind of team you have, what kind of culture you're going to have with a primarily transfer-heavy roster because there's layers to that you don't get as much time to vet out, which a role for a general manager could be to figure more of those things out while the coaches are focusing more on the specific on-court talent and development.
Well, one thing, let's go back to the general manager thing. We talk about it. That is a resource. That's going to be, I don't know what the going rate for.
Probably not cheap.
For, 80,000, 160,000, 240,000, I don't know, probably not 240,000. But you're talking about it. That's another investment that you didn't spend on a general manager. A general manager is not an on-the-court coach. So that is part of the investment that needs to be discussed as it pertains to what South Carolina basketball has to have to be successful.
And there's a layer to it as well. Are you going for somebody that's been in college the past couple of years?
Preferably.
Are you going with somebody that's a former NBA executive that, has a roster management skills themselves? Like, there's a lot of different ways you can pull from this. But again, it's a position that currently does not exist within your team that you're right, you're going to have to pay for.
Nowhere in there did I hear you say a sickly radio host who.
Well, are you throwing your hat into the ring for the application?
I think I could do it.
Are you going to be at a more affordable price than say a former NBA executive?
They have me on the. I could do it. Look.
Well, Bill's throwing his hat in the ring to be the South Carolina general manager. Can you still do the show and be the general manager? That'd be an interesting dynamic.
They hire me. And I'll do whatever you want. I mean, look.
Hey, Gottlieb can coach Green Bay and host a radio show.
I'll tell you, it sounds stupid. AAU coaches, you want who I'll vouch for because he knows people. Dion Bethea, a great collegiate, has connections. I'm not asking him to be an on the court coach. I'm not asking him to go coach bigs or guards, and I'm not even necessarily asking him to go into the transfer into the people's homes. I'm asking him to have knowledge of what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm you're right. Maybe get somebody who's been in college. There's a lot of different options on that. But being a GM, there's some things to that matter. 803-404-6100. South Carolina by FanDuel is now has got a predicted win total of 5.5. Oh boy. Yeah, we'll discuss that when we come back. It's the halftime show. Live from ProSwing, 4708 Forest Drive. Tyler Head and myself, we have held the fort down. They've got some lessons going on. Reminder you, it gets lost sometimes. We talk so much about coming out to ProSwing and playing one of the 300 courses and relaxing with your buddies. You know, you can bring a foursome out here. You can play a round of golf in a shorter time because you're not chasing your ball all over the course. You're not going into the woods. The bathroom is 15 steps away. Beverages are 2 steps away behind you. They've got a little bit of food here. Like, you can play kind of a quicker round, and most importantly, you can do it in a climate-controlled environment. But you can get lessons out here as well if you want to work on your swing a little bit. And if you come out and you book a little bit of tee time here, you have a chance to win some Masters tickets. Something definitely worth doing. Now, what do you have to do? It's a good question you ask. Well, again, reminder, if you book at least 2 hours worth of tee times, 2 hours worth of bay time, I should say, tee time, bay time, you will be registered to win Sunday Masters tickets. So need to go ahead and see if you can be a part of that. It'd be a lot of fun, and they'll have the drawing for that. I hate to say, I believe the drawing. David, did you say the drawing for Masters was April 11th? Did I? April 11th? 10th. I was close. Close. Those days are next to each other.
Masters tickets aren't exactly hard to come by. Are a little bit hard to come by. So any opportunity you have to be into a drawing to get them, I would take that opportunity.
I agree with you. So there you go. So great opportunity. So come on out and enjoy the weekend out here. Again, the Players Championship on Xander Schauffele has fired around a 65. He is now 1 shot in the lead over Cam Young, who is at 9 under.
Are Ludwig Aberg fans wearing Viking helmets?
I believe so. I believe that's what that guy was doing.
I was not aware of this. And soccer uniforms with his name on the back.
That is right.
That's something.
I believe we don't know. We aren't 100% sure who they're pulling for, but
no, it says Ludwig Aberg on the back.
Oh, it does it? Oh,
yeah,
okay. You saw the back.
I saw the back, and yeah, that's like, all right.
It looks like they're harassing other golfers. All kinds of stuff is happening. So, this isn't good. Scotty Scheffler is. Well, now we watch and deep rough, and he's only 1 under. Scheffler's not playing great golf right now.
Yeah,
he's struggling a little bit. So
off to a hot start for the Players, at least.
You got that. Also on the TVs behind me, Tyler's tripped out because the NFL Network has Sam Darnold quarterbacking a game for the Carolina Panthers against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I don't know why they chose to show this game, but it is kind of wild to think of, like, man, we were thinking that guy was just the biggest bust in the world 3 years ago, and now he's Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, Michigan and Ohio State is going final. Michigan wins that. I did not see their commercial.
Florida's cooking right now.
Florida's cooking.
Last I checked, they're up 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tyler's facing the TV. I'm not. It's behind me. I had to stand up there to look at it. But, so Florida has opened up a can of whip hiney on Kentucky, and it looks like our buddy Brian Edwards, who called that in hour number 1, will cash a winner on that. Speaking of cashing a winner, everybody's saying it, Tyler. 8 wins. 8 wins, or else that Shane Beamer fella is going to catch the wrath of Gamecock Nation. FanDuel today came out and said, yeah, how about 5.5? How you feeling on 5.5? Because that's where our book's laying it.
Not great, though. Not surprised. I mean, look at the schedule. You look at the fact that Carolina has a lot of newness to this team and some questions to be answered this offseason. Their best portal acquisition is currently hurt as of right now. This doesn't shock me at all. And look, your projected win totals are not the end-all be-all. South Carolina certainly exceeded that 2 seasons ago. I think they were at 5.5 or 6.5 in 2024, and obviously ended up winning 9 games. So I mean, it's not a death sentence by any means, but it's something you're going to have to overcome.
How does it 803-404-6100? Do you just chalk this up kind of to what Tyler said? Hey, this is Vegas. Vegas is basically always going to look at Carolina and go 5.5, 6.5 in that area. Or do you is this like a wet blanket on your aspirations? That's what I'm trying to kind of figure out. Like, Vegas does this, and there's a part of me that's like, well, Vegas doesn't have to line up with your expectations, but Vegas also, generally speaking, is closer to right than wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's look at the schedule. You're going to take on every team from the SEC that made the playoff last year, with the exception of Ole Miss. You're going to have to go on the road to Clemson at the end of the year. You don't have a lot of gimmies in this. Like, yeah, they should be able to beat Kent State and Towson to open the season. We feel good about their chances against Mississippi State. Feel good about playing Kentucky early on in the year as they're making a transition with their new head coach. But all these other games are going to be tough. Even going down to Florida and John Summerall's first year down there, that's a place that hasn't treated you well over the years, obviously. So, yeah, I completely understand where FanDuel would get a 5.5 from.
Right. No, I'm not arguing with FanDuel. And again, they're constantly putting, that number 5.5, 6.5. I think maybe a couple years ago we got to 7.5. My thing is juxtapose that with what Carolina fans are telling us when we have this conversation.
Right.
Because just a couple weeks ago or maybe a month ago, I said, well, 6-6, I think, by Shane Beamer of the year. And you would have thought that I came on here and said I hate puppies. Like, people went insane. I love puppies, by the way. Phenomenal. They're very fun. But the bottom line is, like, this is like a wet blanket to everybody being like, oh, somebody hit us up early. Let me go back to this text.
Okay.
Because this text kind of in what way I think sums it up. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Okay, it comes from Kevin. And I'll apologize. Kevin sent this in right at the beginning of the show. Going off what Shane said, if we only win 5 or 6 games, he needs to be fired. He promised us playoff discussions.
It's not wrong. And I don't know if I'd go as far as 6-6 by saying that he's safe, but like when you get into the 7-5 territory, that is a significant step forward from last year. So there is something to be said about that. And obviously it depends on how all the other teams on your schedule shake out. So 6-6, I'm hesitant, but if you went 7-5, I think that would, in my opinion, probably be enough to keep rolling. I know people aren't going to like that answer, and not saying I agree with that necessarily, but I think just kind of with where things stand, we talk about buyouts and all that kind of stuff, that's very possible.
Well, I've said it, and you're going to hear me continue to say it. I'm not trying to convince any of y'all that 6-6 is acceptable. Please don't misunderstand me. I do think 6-6, we're not having a discussion, or Jeremiah Donati is not having the discussion of whether to fire him or not. 6-6, and Shane Beamer is your coach in 2027. That doesn't mean, again, it's acceptable. I'm just telling you what I think. With that being said, I still am trying to weigh what everybody wants and what everybody is expecting. And the expectations are going to be large, Tyler. There's people that are basically saying, hey, you get these players back. You get Sellers back. You've got Harbor back. You've got Dylan Stewart back. You've got all these players coming back. And the best you can tell me is 6 wins? Not acceptable.
Yeah. Well, because in a way, and Sellers and Stewart have a lot to do with this, Harbor as well. You have this core of players that are very talented, that are obviously going to be thought of very highly as they make the transition into the NFL, likely in next year's draft. That it's like, hey, if you can't capitalize and win with these guys, there's no guarantee that you're going to have that kind of nucleus of talent in 27 beyond. It almost kind of feels like this is your window of opportunity closing that opened up in 2024. Didn't capitalize on it last year. This is your last chance to take advantage of it.
Here's what I want to do. Let's see if we can put this together. We got time.
Okay.
Vegas is going 5.5.
Right.
Do we go with the Vegas number or do we bump it to 6.5? I want you to listen to what I'm proposing here. And I don't know how we're going to do this just yet, but we got plenty of time. If you're willing to take the over, if you're going to tell me Vegas is wrong, Vegas is full of it, I'm not saying you say that it's acceptable. If you're going to take over, I'm tempted to bump it to 6.5. If we're going to get your number, we got to get a picture or something. We're going to hold people accountable. January 4th, our first show of next year, we're all doing a show from somewhere at Lake Murray, my house or somewhere. And if you take the over and you lose, you got to do a polar plunge.
Okay.
I got to figure this out. Let me work on this, because when it comes time to put your money where your mouth is, let's see what people truly believe.
And we're just going, if you're taking the over of them winning more games than what
Vegas is saying 5.5. I mean, which is bowl eligibility.
It is
bowl eligibility, but everybody's gonna step up right now and be like, I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over. All right, do you truly believe that?
Are you? You're
Do you
basically saying,
truly believe
are you
that?
willing to put something on the line?
Are
for
you
it?
at January 4th of 2027 when that lake is not warm? I might have to bump it back like to February. Let's put this together. We'll work on this. Hopefully, I'll still be alive and employed. Those would be two major things to do that, or else you're doing it in my memory. One of the two. All right, let's wrap up the show from ProSwing when we come back. You're listening to the halftime show. Eight 803-404-6100 files. Yeah, we're gonna come up with something. There's gonna be some accountability around here in football season. No accountability until August, but until in August, accountability. I look, it's Vegas. It is what it is, but Vegas typically a little bit better at making predictions than the majority of us. So when they say 5.5, and a lot of y'all are out there going, yeah, it better be. And look, Shane painted himself into his own corner, right?
Sure.
I mean, I'm with all y'all. I'm told to be watching that. Are we supposed to be watching the very first playoff, or was it closer to the last?
It was like the second one where he said we expect to be watching the Tuesday night show that night or whatever, seeing where we're going to be and our playoff chances. So, yeah, he did kind of, put himself in that situation because he said this time next year we're going to be looking at bowl projections, knowing where we're going type thing. That's different. But, yeah, he did. He put them goals high.
I don't think we got into it. There was some good stuff recently on the potential for bowls and what they may want to do moving forward based on the platform. We'll pull that up for the coming weeks and get back into that, maybe a way of keeping bowls somewhat relevant moving forward and move forward. One other basketball note coming out just here a few minutes ago, as now I'm keeping a very close idea on our close attention on who is being let go and who is not. We know South Carolina is going to retain Lamont Paris. Cincinnati is now parting ways with Wes Miller. Pittsburgh has announced in a letter from their athletic director that Jeff Capel will be back for another season leading the Pittsburgh Panthers basketball job there. Any surprise with that?
Maybe a little bit.
I am a little bit too, based on what some of the things I had read. So you're kind of seeing. I do wonder financially what we're seeing now with an effort by a lot of schools to go dollar for dollar in the football department is costing other sports, other revenue sports, especially when you talk about rev share and other things of that nature.
Yeah, again, we're all kind of we're all operating with the same set of rules, and some schools view investing in basketball more than others. And again, if you add money to basketball, it takes it away from somewhere else, and some schools may not be willing to do that.
803-404-6100 is, again, how you can weigh in. I mentioned it, basketball tonight. How much will you get into conference tournaments this coming weekend? Is this something that you are – or – because I know people like this. I know some friends like this who are like, conference tournaments, nah, this is like the weekend that I do the honeydews and everything before the big stuff starts. Are you more of like, hey, conference tournaments I'm in this week, or are you kind of like, nah – next weekend starts the basketball watching.
And again, I said this the other day. I'm more into the mid-major conference tournaments because they're one bid and they're teams playing for everything. Where like the SEC at this point, you're kind of playing for seeding, so there's not as much on the line. I'll watch, I'll pay attention, obviously, but yeah, it's more kind of a look ahead to what's going to be coming up with Thursday next week when we get things rolling for the first round.
Yeah, it'll be again as you kind of mentioned there with. Next weekend will be the big basketball weekend. We'll all see, on Tuesday, Wednesday. You get the first four in, and then you kind of go from there as to what exactly kind of occurs with the regular NCAA tournament. I am saying this: do not, given this is our final show before Selection Sunday, do not put Miami of Ohio in the first four in. Do not. I know. Have you seen this already on Twitter today? Yeah. Everybody wants Auburn, Miami of Ohio in the first four in.
That would be the highest rated first four game ever.
Put Miami of Ohio in. Put Miami of Ohio in, and in the tournament, in the field of 60, in the field of 68. Play them on Thursday. They deserve to be in. Auburn. The case was made the other day that was very interesting as it pertained to if Auburn had not played Arizona, Duke, and Houston. And those were three cupcakes if we're having a different discussion on whether they should be in or not.
Well, this further tells me we shouldn't expand the tournament at all because all these teams would be in, no question. I like the debate. I like the controversy. And again, I think we're perfect at 64/68. And yes, I believe Miami should be in. I think they've done enough to get in, and I don't think Auburn has.
803, again, 404-6100. Baseball this weekend, what do we expect? I mean, honestly. Like, do you go in this thing like just win one? Just have Josh Gunther throw a good one tonight and then try and pull one out? Is that where we're at?
Look, I'm hopeful as anybody that they find a way to go in there and take 2 out of 3. Do I think that's going to happen? Personally, no. And I hope I'm proven wrong. That's kind of where I'm at.
I said it before you got here. Baseball was a lot of fun. There was a time I would take my kids out on the boat on Friday night, let them jump off the boat. I'd have my iPad up. I'd watch games. Baseball was great. It was enjoyable. College South Carolina baseball is not great anymore. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. It is a chore, and this is where South Carolina fans are at, and that's got to change. And I don't know if it's going to change this year or not. We're not in a good place, and now you start SEC play. You can at least start to change the mentality a little bit, though, if you can win tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. 6:30 first pitch.
All right. Thank you to the great folks at ProSwing for all they've done for us today. We're going to get out of here. My plan is to hit the Players Championship this weekend in Sawgrass. Yours?
I got to go do my taxes tonight, and then
Oh, good
watch
Lord.
a bunch of sports this weekend.
We will be back. I'm out on Monday. Dr. Sportman, I'll talk to y'all Tuesday. Have a great day.